Hello everyone. Today we shall take up William Shakespeare's sonnet Like as the Waves, which is part of Unit B of Paper 1. We have already discussed went to the sessions in our earlier video, and this poem is also a sonnet, and it is a Shakespearean sonnet in which we see that the 14 lines are divided into three quatrains and a couplet. The poem was written around 1590s and it was published in 1609, and it is sonnet number 60 of the 154 sonnets that Shakespeare wrote. And this sonnet is also included in those 126 sonnets which are supposed to be addressed to a friend of Shakespeare. Now, if we look at the definition of sonnet, a sonnet is defined as a short lyric poem which consists of 14 iambic pentameter lines, and these lines, they are linked by an intricate rhyme scheme. Sonnet originated in Italy, and there are two main types of sonnet in English, which are the Italian or the Petrarchan sonnet, and the other one is the English or the Shakespearean sonnet. Now, these two sonnets, they differ in their rhyme scheme, and here we are going to take up the English or the Shakespearean. So, the English sonnet, which is also known as the Shakespearean sonnet, developed in the 16th century in England, and it is called the Shakespearean sonnet after its greatest practitioner, that is Shakespeare. So we see that in a Shakespearean sonnet, the 14 lines, they are divided into three quatrains and a couplet. So the first 12 lines, they are divided into three quatrains, and each quatrain is a group of 4 lines, and then there is a concluding couplet. The rhyme scheme of this type of sonnet goes as AB AB, CD CD, EF EF, and GG. Now there is an important variant of Shakespearean sonnet, and it is known as the Spenserian sonnet. And here in the Spenserian sonnet, we see that each quatrain is linked to the next. So the rhyme scheme goes AB AB, BC BC, CD CD, EE. Like as the waves. Okay, let me read the poem for you. Like as the waves make towards the pebbled shore, so do our minutes hasten to their end, each changing place with that which goes before. In sequent toil, all forwards do contend. Nativity, once in the main of light, crawls to maturity, wherewith being crowned, crooked eclipses against his glory fight, and time, that gave doth now his gift confound. Time doth transfix the flourish set on youth, and delves the parallels in beauty's brew, feeds on the rarities of nature's truth, and nothing stands but for his sight to move. And yet to times in hope my verse shall stand, praising thy worth despite his cruel hand. So we can see that the poem, it is a Shakespearean sonnet, that is the 14 lines. They are clearly divided into three quatrains and a couplet. And the rhyme scheme of the poem goes as AB AB, CD CD, EF EF, GG. So here in the quatrains, the poet is raising a problem That is, he talks about the destructive power of time. So the poet states that time, it destroys everything. But then in the couplet, he says that although time can destroy everything, but time does not have any effect on the poem that the poet has written in praise of his friend. So, in the couplet, the poet says that time will not destroy the verse, the poem that the poet has written in praise of his friend. So we can say that the theme of the poem is that art is immortal. That is, art cannot be destroyed by time. So we begin with the paraphrase of the poem. Like as the waves make towards the pebbled shore, so do our minutes hasten to their end. So Shakespeare is making use of a simile here. He compares the minutes of our life to the movement of the waves. So just as the waves are moving, towards the pebbled shore. Pebbles are white small stones which are found on the shore. So as the waves are moving towards the shore, in the similar manner, the minutes of our life are moving towards the end, that is the time, it is moving towards death. The end here is death, each changing place with that which goes before. So as the waves move, isn't it, the wave, it replaces its preceding wave. In the similar manner, in the same sequence, the minutes of our life are moving forward. Nativity, once in the main of light, crawls to maturity. So nativity here means the birth, isn't it? Birth, which is a very important event in the ocean of life, isn't it? A man, he takes birth and then gradually he reaches the middle stage. He crawls to maturity. And in this middle stage, that is in his youth, he's crowned with so many things. And after the middle age, he starts moving towards the old age. That is, mm, uh, the old age. It acts like an eclipse. It hides all the glory. Now here, the same thing can be explained in this way, that we can use the imagery of sun. Now sun, when it rises, isn't it? That is the nativity, plane of light. Sun rises from the ocean, isn't it? And it crawls to maturity, and then eclipse. What happens during the eclipse? In the eclipse, the sun is covered. So the glory of the sun is hidden. Similarly, the glory of youth is hidden by the old age. And a stage comes when time that gave everything, time which gives everything, it takes back everything. Time doth transfix the flourish set on youth and delves the parallels in beauty's brow. So time, it destroys everything. It destroys the flourish set on youth. It destroys the beauty of the youth, and it feeds on the rarities of nature's truth. That is, it feeds on the excellent things of nature. And nothing can stand time. Time, it destroys everything. It acts as a ravaging monster, and with its scythe, what is scythe? Scythe is a tool which is used to cut the crops. So, and mow means to cut. So, time with its scythe, it cuts everything, it destroys everything. So, in the quadrants, in the three quadrants, the poet, he is in a negative mood, and he talks about the destructive power of time. But then in the couplet, he becomes optimistic. He says that, and yet to times and hope, that is, he's talking about the future time. Yet to times in hope, my verse, that is my verse, that is his poem, the poem that he has written in the praise of his friend, praising thy worth, in which he praises his friend. That poem will remain forever. That is, his friend who is being praised in the poem would be remembered always. Time would have no effect on it. Time would not be able to destroy the poem that the poet had written in praise of his friend. So time, it will not destroy the poem. That time, despite his cruel hand. Now, whose cruel hand are we talking? Is the poet talking about? He's talking about the cruel hand of time. Now, this cruel hand of time will not be able to destroy the poem that the poet had written in praise of his friend. So time would destroy everything, but it would not be able to destroy the poem. That is, it would not be able to affect any kind of art. So the theme comes up here that that art is immortal. So this is the sonnet, and it's a very beautiful sonnet, and it is still quite popular.